I love strong. I love big, strong, powerful, cool guy. I love Marvel cool guy, DC cool guy, Ninja Turtle cool guy, Think Mark cool guy, cool guy, and anime cool guy. Like, all the anime cool guy, because there's so many of them, and they're all cool guy. More than that, I love when all the cool dudes, strong guy, powerful badassery that you're so used to seeing on TV is channeled into a fun video game. Gamers are no strangers when it comes to superhero video games. For almost every popular superhero franchise, developers have tried their hand at cashing in on superhero fanboys. Spider-Man games, Batman games, Transformers games, Ninja Turtle games, and genre-wise adventure games, card games, turn-based games, fighting games, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Come on! Do you guys remember this game? Shit, yeah! I think in today's day and age, we're probably at the peak of what superhero games are gonna look like. No more experimentation necessary, no more weird shit, no more
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
And now that we're at that point, I feel like it's time to give an unsung hero a proper modern day AAA spin. I'm talking about Ben 10, baby. Why Ben 10? First of all, because the concept behind the idea is incredibly badass. For those of you who don't know, Ben wears an alien watch that allows him to turn into 10 different aliens. Hot ones, 4 dongs, I come quick, size doesn't matter, forbidden head game, always rock hard, sentient vibrator, airborne STDs, bestiality, and please don't kink shame. But he also had access to more aliens. Character development and storytelling were insane. He had a large gallery of A, B, and C tier villains. The aliens were super cool and creative. It was always a case of which alien would work best in which situation. Whether you watched OG Ben 10 or Alien Force, everything after that does not exist in my mind. The basis for a next-gen or current-gen video game isn't unfounded. Believe it or not, OG Ben 10 Protector of the Earth sold 4.5 million copies, and the total number of overall Ben 10 themed video games sold is over 11 million. And that was when we were growing up with the show. You know, our pubes just started coming in. Now that we're adults, I think it's time a developer took advantage of the dozens of superhero games coming out and made one for Ben 10. And since you clicked on this video, you obviously know where I'm going with this. Honestly, there were a couple developers that came to my mind that had prior experience in making superhero games, but none of them came close to the consistency that Insomniac has shown recently. The other developers I thought of were Sucker Punch and Rocksteady, because the former has seen a lot of success with the Infamous games, and the latter has seen even more success with the Batman Arkham games when it comes to the superhero space. Infamous Second Son is actually not too far away from what a Ben 10 game made by Sucker Punch could look like. Delsin Rowe's powers were essentially conduit absorption leading to 4 main concepts: smoke, neon, video, and concrete. And honestly, looking back, these were pretty badass. If that was translated to a Ben 10 game, Sucker Punch could try and capitalize on traversal by building on some of Delsin's existing abilities. The gliding from the smoke and concrete abilities resemble what Heat Blast and maybe Diamond Head could be capable of. The flying from the video power-up could work for Stinkfly and maybe even Upgrade, since Delsin's wings are just kinda tagged on and Upgrade can pretty much do the same. The dashing from Neon could work for Accelerate, and the concrete running and ball roll animations would work really well for Forearms and Cannonball. These are some things that could work really well. On the other hand though, Second Son's combat feels more in line with a possible Avatar Last Airbender game rather than a Ben 10 game. Smoke being fire, neon being water, video being air, and concrete being earth. It's pretty basic too, and I get that it's because the games were designed to make Cole and Delsin feel like overpowered freaks. But I feel like for a Ben 10 game, the combat should be a little bit more complex. Also, just a random observation, but Delsin's abilities are remarkably similar to Kevin's from Ben 10 and Alien Force, so... Sucker Punch has also mostly gone down the path of creating original experiences rather than adapting existing franchises. So I wouldn't know too much about how they would handle storytelling when it comes to a pre-made world. I can't criticize this too much because I just haven't seen them try. So the only reason I don't think a Ben 10 game from them would work is because there are studios who might do it better. Rocksteady. Ooh.
You see,
Oh.
arrogant.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I need to make a case for Rocksteady's storytelling or villain gallery portrayal when it comes to the Arkham games. Bane, Ivy, Scarecrow, Freeze, Penguin, Todd, the Joker, they've done a fantastic job at making each feel threatening, memorable even. The scale at which they take over entire areas, the personality that goes into them. I feel like if this is translated into Ben 10's gallery, Rocksteady could do a great job portraying Vilgax, 6-6, Dr. Animo, Hex and Charmcaster, Evil Ghost Freak, the Forever Knights. God damn, they could pull off the Forever Knights so freaking well. But I also feel Rocksteady would do Alien Force significantly better, since that has the darker undertone that they're so great at incorporating into their video games. So an Alien Force themed game with Darkstar, the Hybrid, Albedo, the dumbass Beetle crew, you know?
She most certainly needs aggressive blowing up.
The thing is, I feel Rocksteady's limitations, or rather, things we haven't seen them do as yet, are their take on a protagonist that has different capabilities when it comes to multiple powers. Batman is a more grounded superhero. His combat is meant to be hand-to-hand with the aid of different gadgets. His games work so well because they all center around how an ordinary man takes on extraordinary villains. For Ben 10, he is in control over extraordinary villains to overcome extraordinary villains. But yeah, even if I wanted Rocksteady to try their hand at making a game for Ben 10, that team has disbanded. Warner Warner Bros. Wants to prioritize more live action games, and I would rather not see another dumpster fire like this one. Friends, all my yapping has finally led me to the topic of the video. Why Insomniac and what I think a Ben 10 game from them would look like. First, we gotta go with the why. Insomniac has practically mastered their craft across multiple games. Ratchet & Clank, Sunset Overdrive, and of course, Spider-Man. They can choose to go a storytelling route that is lighter or darker. The latter would be an amazing option for Alien Force, and the former a great option for OG Ben 10. Although, it doesn't have to be a lighter tone. The combat across Insomniac's games is varied as well, swapping between an immensely creative array of weapons in Ratchet & Clank and Sunset Overdrive, and showcasing hand-to-hand combat, ability-based combat, and gadget swapping and stealth combat in Spider-Man. They're also the only AAA developer that comes to mind who have perfected traversal, whether it's the rocket boots from Rift Apart, rail grinding from Sunset Overdrive, and web swinging, wing gliding, and even water surfing from Spider-Man. Additionally, Insomniac have shown that they can have multiple villain of the week baddies in a single game, and aren't afraid to have more than one big bad villain in the same game either. They've had a little more enemy variety as well. Their side quest design is pretty good, and they can go a multi-narrative route with surprise elements if they wanted to add them. Now then, what would it look like? Oh, I've been waiting to get to this part. Yuri Lowenthal has voiced both Spider-Man and Alien Force Ben. That's not really relevant to this, but I've just been dying to point it out. Both Spider-Man and Ben 10 also have redheads and best friends who have a tendency to become villains. Okay, that's finally off my chest. The big question marks truly arise around combat and traversal. While all the elements for both mechanics exist, how many aliens would you be willing to program for combat and how many for traversal? I feel like having all 10 be usable is a bit ambitious, but not impossible. Even Protector of the Earth only lets you use 5 aliens, while I think Vilgax attacks and Cosmic Destruction let you use a lot more. There are a couple ways combat could work. You could either give the aliens super basic attacks, opting for the use of all 10, or you could, and this is what I prefer, flesh out combat for a select few aliens. Again, very similar to Protector of the Earth. Another reason I think Insomniac could go the open world route is because you have a ton of aliens traversal would work really well with. Just from the Spider-Man games alone as a reference, Heat Blast, Stinkfly, Jet Ray, Big Chill are perfect for flying or gliding around the map akin to the web wings. Spider Monkey and Wildvine are your web slinger types, and Ripjaw, well, Insomniac managed to have some water surfing parts in there, so yeah. Accelerate and Cannonball are great for on-the-ground movement, which kind of reminds me of Rift Apart's rocket boots. Actually, you know what? Grey Matter would work really well for those Spider-Bot segments. Huh. This game might actually work. Story-wise, I think they can go absolutely ham. If none of you have seen the original Ben 10 or Alien Force, you should seriously go ahead and watch Alien Force. That shit holds up to this day. It's such an incredible show and surprisingly dark when it needs to be. The OG Ben 10 had moments where it did go dark, but the show's tone is lighter overall. Whatever the case, either show has enough solid plot points to make a game out of. And as I mentioned before, I really think using the Forever Knights makes a ton of sense. From a gameplay perspective, they're the perfect fodder enemies, and from a story perspective, they're a vindictive group of regular ordinary humans who are just fucking crazy. You could also go the hybrid D and Alien route. D and Aliens, I mean, you have those weird parasite things take over regular civilians. Since Insomniac has already experimented with the symbiote taking over the city, you could go wild with Ghost Freak's capabilities. That bitch gave me nightmares. Ben 10 versus Albedo, Dr. Animo overrunning the city with his weirdo animals, and of course, Vilgax is always there to fall back on for your final big booty boss boy. Ben 10 fans, do you see the potential? All I'm saying is, if we can keep getting these whack-ass Forspoken, Gollum piece of shit games, even Dune is getting its own video game, we can get one for Ben 10. God damn you!
Hadouken!